You'll very often hear from non-dual ego deconstruction teachers and their followers that folks who report harm from the pointers and radical shifts that they lead to simply must have had a history of trauma or mental illness. If that were the case, which it's often not, where are the warnings on the YouTube videos? Where's the full disclosure that this demographic is particularly vulnerable to such harm? And why are they teaching this indiscriminately to the masses, knowing that one of the demographics who's seeking this instant self-deconstruction are folks who are suffering from mental illness and trauma? Furthermore, if these teachers, plenty of whom describe their own history of trauma and mental illness, know that such folks are most susceptible, and why are many of these same teachers promoting their videos to trauma victims and specifically to folks with mental illness as a solution to these conditions, i.e., those very people? For example, you can scroll through plenty of non-duality teachers' YouTube videos like Rupert Spira and see titles saying things like heal clinical depression, heal your childhood trauma through this instant shattering of your sense of self that they will point you towards. So why are they actually teaching their pointers as a blanket solution for mental health issues, trauma, etc., while at the same time claiming that anyone who's harmed by their teachings and the shifts that they lead to after shattering their sense of self is somebody who had to be mentally ill or traumatized in a way that minimizes or downplays the harm and also suggests that it's an inadequacy on behalf of the spiritual explorer? This is extremely manipulative. Now, if the argument is that whether one of these traumatized or mentally ill folks ends up more harmed or helped by instantly destabilizing their sense of self and reality is on a case-by-case basis, it then begs the question, again, of why are they disseminating these teachings indiscriminately in a completely blanketed way with zero concern for set and setting, rather than on a case-by-case basis that takes into account the person's unique psychology and circumstances, similar to psychedelic facilitators who facilitate ego death or ego dissolution experiences through psychedelics. But then at this point, the question is, how would these non-dual facilitators know how to determine when the teachers would likely do more harm than good for someone? If, for example, they've never studied basic human psychology, let alone trauma and mental illness, or learning about safety measures for guiding people into radically shifted states of consciousness, and when that's actually a good idea or not. All of this is to say that the entire movement of giving out ego death or ego dissolution pointers to the general public, and especially to vulnerable folks on YouTube, for example, with zero discrimination, is simply dangerous, irresponsible, and not compassionate. Many people are getting seriously hurt by this. On the extreme end, people are committing suicide due to the fallout of these teachings and the effects that they have. Some would look at this as an ethical matter, but it's more than that. It's one of basic human kindness and compassion. The more we bring awareness to this topic, the more we can help ensure that spiritual teachings and shifts in perception that have known inherent risks are shared responsibly and engaged in with care and greater discernment. If you're interested in more content that promotes thoughtful and safe spiritual exploration, please feel free to like and subscribe to this channel.